this time, we are going to discuss the process how to conduct a survey research. In the previous video presentation that we already discussed the process how to conduct experimental research. This time, we are going to talk about the systematic flow of the conduct of a survey research. First, what we are going to do, of course, is to specify the research problem or working title clearly. Take note, research starts from a problem. Research does not start from the final title of your research. It's no. That is just only a working title. Why working title? Because it can be changed anytime depending upon to the results of your research. Okay, because from the title, body of your research, going to the conclusions, methodology of course, going to the conclusions and recommendation, they must be congruent with each other before the title will be finalized. But you always start with curiosity, and that curiosity gives you a problem. And this problem will be obtained from review of related literature. What is the meaning of review of related literature? Reading and reading from secondary sources of data, and most of the times we are reading from the tertiary sources of data. And if we are curious about the cultural practices of an ethnic group, we are doing the so-called qualitative researches, and that qualitative researches are requiring the so-called primary data. But take note, if we are conducting qualitative researches, they are not considered survey researches. Okay, I am just only giving you an input how you are going to look for a problem which is potential working title of your study. You are going to have the focus of what you are going to study. No, you're going. What makes you curious about it? What social issue that you want to resolve? What particular hypothesis, what previously constructed theory that you want to investigate, you want to prove, you want to disprove, and that gives you a certain problem of your research. Okay, number 2, formulate research questions or statement of the problem, or SOP. Take note, statement of the problem, research question, research problem are the same. Did you understand? And hypothesis is a tentative solution to a certain problem of your research. Hypothesis with ES is a plural of the hypothesis with IS, if any. But because not all survey researches have the so-called hypothesis, no? Because we have the survey researches are classified into 3. We have the descriptive research, we have the comparative research, and we have the correlational research. And we can combine the descriptive and that of the comparative. We can also combine the descriptive and that of the correlational. But there are just only 3 major classifications of survey research. Now, and that is to determine the extent of subject variables. Now, if we are just only determining the extent of the variables that we are just only having the descriptive research. And if we are having the so-called descriptive research, we do not have the dependent variables. All of the variables that we have are considered independent variables if we are just only determining the extent of these particular problems, or variables rather. Now, if we are going to have the prediction of the relationship of the 2 variables, it means the research that we are conducting is correlational research. It means cause-effect relationship will be obtained. because we cannot have the relationship if there is no independent variable and that of the dependent variable. And sometimes there are intervening variables. Take note, when we say intervening variables, the common examples of intervening variables are the personal factors. When we say personal factors, demographic profile of the students. And what are the examples of demographic profile of the respondents? We have the tribe, we have the gender, we have the religion, nationality, etc. This profile is talking about the personality of the respondents. Okay. That is the second step. You are going to formulate your research questions or statement of the problem. And if there are hypotheses, you are going to have your hypothesis. Then, take note, hypothesis is just only constructed if our research is predicting the relationship of the two variables. If there is no independent variable, we cannot predict. Okay, and the research that we are conducting is descriptive, either descriptive or comparative. Okay. Number 3, determine the exact kind of data referred to by research questions and a hypothesis. Take note, through your statement of the problem or research questions, we can determine what type of survey questionnaire are we going to prepare. Is it checklist? Is it Likert scale? Yes. Then, through the hypothesis that we have, we can also determine what particular statistical tool we are going to use. Take note, statistics already starts in this particular lesson. Because when you say quantitative research, it is statistics plus language. Okay. Statistical tools will be determined using your specific statement of the problem. For example, if your research questions do not determine what particular statistical tools that we are going to use, that means your statement of the problem are not good. You are going to revise. You are going to consult your advisor. You are going to consult research experts. Okay. But take note, you are going to determine the exact kind of data that you are going to use. Whether it is checklist, survey questionnaire, and through your hypothesis, you are going to determine, you will be able to determine what type of statistical tool, what kind of statistical tool will be used. Okay, number 4. Assure the population or group of people to which the checklist or survey questionnaire will be distributed. Yes, and that is using the sampling technique. Because do not give checklist or survey questionnaire to the people who are not potential respondents of your study. That will just only make your results not reliable. So you are going to assure that the people or group of people that will be given the checklist or survey questionnaire will be qualified respondents of your study, and that is using the so-called sampling technique. Because if you're not going to use the sampling technique, your research will be less reliable. Okay. So therefore, we are going to proceed with number 5. Finalize the sampling method for selecting the respondents. There is a mathematical formula in computing for the sample size. And there is a sampling technique that we are going to use to select the individual respondents of our research. And all of this will be discussed in the methodology. Okay, we are not yet in the methodology. We are just here in the important concepts or principles that you need to learn before we are going to proceed with the rigid discussion of the research process. Okay. Now, number 6. Because the heart of the research is found in the methodology, because statistical tools, statistical treatment, methodology are there. Okay. Identify the method in collecting data. What method you are going to use? Okay, whether it is survey questionnaire, through phone. Okay, at this time because we are having the COVID-19 pandemic, face-to-face distribution of the survey questionnaire is not encouraged, and it is very discouraged because of the COVID-19 pandemic. You can have the survey, you can have the data gathering activities, the data gathering procedure through phone call or online methods, no, via computer, or you can have the face-to-face contact with the respondents, but this is discouraged because we are in the COVID-19 pandemic. That is why we have just only these video presentations or video lessons for you to at least learn despite this pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic. Now, this time, we are going to talk about the strengths of survey research. We have the versatility. Survey research can tackle any issue affecting our society. And what are these social issues that affect our society? First is the COVID-19 pandemic. It means that if you're going to conduct a survey research, you can do a research about COVID-19 pandemic. We have the leadership. We have the commitment. We have the organizational commitment. We have the perceived external prestige, or the so-called prestige as perceived by other people regarding the organization. So anything under the heat of the sun can be a subject of your survey research. You can have the research about bullying, teen depression. We have the teenage pregnancy, but teenage pregnancy is not a realistic subject of your research because you do not have the capability to discuss about this particular societal issue. No? So you are going to have a survey research in which it is doable in your part. So anything that affects our society can be a subject of our research. When it's a subject, can be a topic or focus of our research. Subject does not only refer to participants or respondents of our study. Subject can also be referred to the subject or focus of our study. The second strength of survey research is efficiency. Survey research is not costly in terms of money and time, assuming that there is an excellent communication or postal system. Survey research is less expensive compared with the pure experimental research, as long as there is an excellent communication or postal system. But if there is no excellent communication, if a researcher lacks the interpersonal relationship, this particular research might be expensive. That is why there is a word assuming. Meaning, if the particular researcher is having the so-called excellent communication with the concerned agencies, with the concerned people who can help him in data gathering activities, this particular survey research is not costly. But if there is no excellent communication, if you do not have the so-called connection, because you lack the so-called interpersonal relationship, social competence, survey research might be expensive because you have the large sample. Okay, for example, for a research which is very systematic survey research, your sample will be not less than 300. Then, for example, if your survey questionnaire is 5 pages, you're going to multiply 5 pages times 300. And that is so expensive. No, that is so expensive. Then, if your survey research is wider in scope because it is regional, then if you do not have the connection, you do not know how to approach people who are in position to help you in distribution of your survey questionnaire, that will be expensive. Now, it as survey research is less expensive compared with that of the pure experimental research if there is an excellent communication. But if there is no excellent communication because a researcher is lacking interpersonal relationship or social competence, he does not know how to approach people in a position, that survey research might be expensive. That is why, as a researcher, you must be good in dealing with people. You know who are the people who can help you, no? Okay, so that is the meaning of efficiency. Number 3 is generality. What is the meaning of this? Survey research can get a good representation or sample of large group of people. Now, I am going to give you a certain example. No? Since our research, survey research, is gathering data from large group of people, but it doesn't mean that this large group of people will be given survey questionnaires. All of these people will be given survey questionnaires. Not because of the sampling technique, because of the sampling procedure, and we have the systematic process, we have the mathematical formula that we're going to use in order to have the small sample out of this very large population. But this small sample systematically taken from the large group of people can give the general perception of the large group of people, although we have only a small sample of people who just only responded to the questions or the questionnaire. The very best examples of this one are the survey being conducted by the social weather stations or SWS, or the Pulse Asia Research, in which they are always conducting survey regarding the perceptions of the people about social issue. And take note, we have 110 million in the population of the Philippines is more than 110 million. But their sample is just only more than 2,000. And that is very small compared with 110 million. But their findings can generalize the perception of this 110 million people of the Philippines because of the systematic procedure in getting the sample of the large group of people. Do you understand? Now, if there is no systematic sampling technique, meaning you didn't use the mathematical formula in computing for your sample, I will be discussing about sampling techniques in the methodology. Take note, the heart of the research is in the methodology. Okay, I will be teaching you how to compute your sample, how are you going to select your individual respondents in order to have a small sample out of the big, large group of people, but the research will generalize the opinions of this large group of people. Another situation is that there is a researcher talking about the perceptions of the people regarding the occurrence of this COVID-19 pandemic in this particular area, no, in Sultan Kudarat. And there is another researcher who is going to conduct a particular research using different setting about the same topic, no, the same topic. And another researcher conducting a research with the same topic. Then all of these researches conducted with the same topic will generate different findings. And if you want to conduct another research that will tackle all of this, you want to replicate a certain study, and one of your sources are the researches of this particular people, three group of people talking about the same topic, and you ask the latest researcher can generalize the findings of these three researchers to have just only one idea that will generalize the findings of the previous researchers. That is why generality is one of the strengths of survey research. And number 4 is confidentiality. Survey research is capable of safeguarding the privacy or anonymity of the respondents. Because if you are having the so-called survey research, most of the time it is not sensitive. Not like with qualitative research, sometimes it is sensitive. For example, if you want to conduct a research about teenage pregnancy, you cannot expose the personality of the respondents of your research because teenage pregnancy is sensitive. If you want to conduct a research about the victims of COVID-19 pandemic, the people who are infected with COVID-19, you cannot expose the personality of these people, no? But if you're going to have this particular survey research, it is capable of safeguarding the privacy or anonymity of the respondents because you are just only getting their opinions, and their opinions are not sensitive because you are not exposing their personal background. That is why in the survey questionnaire, there is a part of the survey questionnaire in which there is a name there, name optional. It means that it's up to you to write your name or not because it is just only optional. And that is one of the strengths of the survey research is that the personal information of the respondent is not exposed, not disclosed because most of the times, the subjects or the topics of the survey research are not sensitive. So, survey research can ensure that the privacy or anonymity of the respondents are held with confidentiality. Okay. Now, this time, we are going to talk about the weaknesses of survey research. If survey research has the so-called strengths, it has also the weaknesses. So, with that of the quantitative research has so many strengths, but it has also so many weaknesses. And as a review, strengths of quantitative researches are the weaknesses of qualitative researches. Weaknesses of qualitative researches are the strengths of quantitative researches. Strengths of qualitative researches are the weaknesses of quantitative research. Now, if you are asked which of the two researches is better, can you say that quantitative research is better than qualitative research? Can you say that the qualitative research is better than quantitative research? Because these are two disciplines. These are two different fields with different focuses. We cannot say that quantitative research is better than qualitative research. We cannot also say that qualitative research is better than quantitative research. But take note, the best research is the mixed methods of qualitative research and that of the quantitative research. Okay. Now, we are going to proceed with the weaknesses of survey research. It cannot provide a sufficient evidence about the relationship of variables because you have just only a limited number of participants. So, one of the weaknesses is it doesn't provide a sufficient evidence about the relationship of variables. Unlike with the qualitative research, you can explore the vast ideas of the respondents because unlimited ideas, unlimited opinions can be collected and giving meanings or metaphors to this particular issue, and that is regarding the relationship between the two topics that you are going to discuss. Okay. That is why the findings of correlational researches are not stable. You might get a positive relationship in this particular setting, and other researchers using different settings might have the negative relationship. And in some other setting, other researchers can get no relationship. That is why survey research cannot provide a sufficient evidence about the relationship of variables because the findings are not stable. Okay, it differs from time to time because survey research is talking about social science, and social science is dynamic. It means it it undergoes change. There is no permanent in this word except change. It means that change always comes. Change is coming according to President Duterte. Okay, number 2. It cannot examine the significance of some issues affecting diverse group of people. Yes. If you want to examine the significance of some issues affecting diverse group of people, you are going to do a qualitative research, and that will really get the lived experiences of this diverse group of people, because survey research cannot get this in-depth understanding of the lived experiences of diverse group of people. So if you want to do a certain research that you want to examine the significance of some issues affecting the diverse group of people, you can do the so-called qualitative research, not the survey research. Okay. Number 3, it cannot consider man's naturalistic tendencies as the basis of human behavior unless his ways or styles of living are related to his surroundings. When we say naturalistic, it is talking about the natural setting, naturalistic tendencies as the basis of human behavior. Take note, if the concern of your research is about the man's naturalistic tendencies as the basis of human behavior, you cannot do the survey research. You are going to conduct quantitative research because not quantitative research. You are going to conduct qualitative research if you want to investigate the naturalistic tendencies as the basis of human behavior, because when you say qualitative research, it is a naturalistic inquiry of the existence of the phenomenon specifically related to his surroundings, and that is talking about his personal ways or styles of living. Personal ways or personal styles of living of this diverse group of people can be naturalistically gathered using qualitative research, not survey research. Okay, number 4. It cannot deeply generate vast ideas from one or two respondents. Yes, because when you say survey research, it is soliciting ideas of the group of large people. Meaning, your focus is not only for one or two individuals, but if you're going to have the focus of your study, which is one or two individuals only, you are going to do the case study. And case study is qualitative research. Because you can explore many things, you can have so many questions about the personality of that particular individual or two individuals. You cannot do the survey research if you are just only considering one or two participants only, just to explore the personality. You can do the writing of biography, and biographical research is a part of qualitative research, and it is not a concern of survey research. Okay, then another weaknesses of survey researches are: number 1, respondents may not feel discouraged. This is the continuation of just a while ago, but this is talking about the respondents, no? And this is also considered weaknesses of survey research. Respondents may not feel encouraged to provide accurate or honest answers. Yes, one of the weaknesses is that sometimes the students are busy doing their activities, and although they confirm to the invitation of the researcher, but what they are doing is just only answering the questions in the survey questionnaires, which in which they do not read the contents. They just only check their chosen option without understanding the contents. That is why that is one of the weaknesses of survey research, because they are not really encouraged, because the issues being tackled might not affect their personality. That is why they are not interested and they are not encouraged to provide accurate or honest answers. And that is one of the weaknesses. That is why uh, the orientation to the respondents, the reliability and validity of the survey questionnaire must be ensured in order to encourage the respondents to accurately answer the survey questionnaire. And validity and reliability of the survey questionnaire will be discussed in the next video presentation. Okay. Another weakness is, and these weaknesses are talking about the respondents. Respondents may not feel comfortable providing answers that present that present themselves in an unfavorable manner. Since that issues being tackled in that particular survey questionnaire are not regarding their personal issues. They are not interested, and they are not interested to answer the issues being faced by the, for example, the people who are not familiar to them. Yes. For example, a survey research is talking about the leadership competence of the school administrators. The teachers might not be interested to provide accurate answers about that. Okay, and that is one of the weaknesses of survey research. Number 3, respondents may not be fully aware of the reasons for any given answer because of lack of memory on the subject or even boredom. Like, for instance, if your survey questionnaires are very long, the sentences there, the statements there are very long, the respondents might not read the contents of the questionnaire, and they just only select their options from 1 to 5 without reading. And that is one of the, you're going to expect this particular situation. That is why it is the proper orientation of the respondents in order to encourage them to really give their honest answers, opinions about your research. Okay, now before ending this video presentation, I'm going to leave you a certain assignment, and this is a form of evaluation, and it is also a form of learning, because if you listen and listen to the speakers without applying the concepts or knowledge that you have learned, you easily forget. But if you do it by your own, you will never forget. That is why the more you write, the more you learn. Okay, what you are going to do is to answer first the question, and after the question, every question and your answer in paragraph form. Okay, number 1. Differentiate experimental research from non-experimental research. Are all non-experimental researches considered survey researches? Why or why not? Meaning, your answers here are dynamic depending upon your opinions. That is the beauty of essay question. The answers are dynamic depending upon the opinions. If you're going to consider, if you're going to say yes, and if you have enough evidences that can be considered. Okay. What are the strengths of a survey research? Strengths of the survey research are given in bullet style. What you need to do is to get idea from that, and you're going to uh, make it a paragraph. No, make it a paragraph. At least two paragraphs. No, explain its strength in your own words. Don't copy the explanation in this slide. Explain the purpose of pre-test and post-test in conducting an experimental research. Yes, I have already discussed to you this in the previous slide, and it is still included here. Now, explain the characteristics of non-experimental research. Characteristics of non-experimental researches are given in bullet style. What you need to do is to make it a paragraph form. Number 6, what are the weaknesses of a survey research? Weaknesses of survey research are enumerated, and there are so many. Just only select. You're going to generalize your answer. How are you going to generalize the answers taken from a very specific ideas? But not only one word or one sentence. Take note, this is how are you going to write your research if you are not capable of explaining the phenomenon. So this is a training for you students. Okay, don't forget to submit that in my email address, samsudinabdullah42@yahoo.com. That ends our video presentation.